Excellent. So thank you very much, and thank you, Nancy, for the opportunity to join you here today. And thank you for letting us make our brief announcement. And I know I'm sort of covering two roles here, the Small Business Administration and USDA. Tim Hobbs is the state director for USDA, and he has been called away to Washington for a detail, which is an honor. I let everybody know, but we kind of wanted to be sure that we got the word out about some of the great work that we're doing with them. But just really briefly to let you know, because a lot of talk earlier today was about the government, and we are the government. The SBA is an independent federal agency, and sometimes people are like, well, what is your role in this field and in economic development? And while we may not be an agency that's out there with the significant grants for communities or things like that, we're there helping the small businesses. And so we're there at that local level, helping small businesses get, grow, start, and succeed. And we do that in 3 different ways. So we help them gain access to capital. We do that with local lending partners. Today's sponsor, Bangor Savings, is a great partner of the SBA's here in Maine, as is Camden National. I know I saw some Camden folks in the room as well. So just this past fiscal year, we were able to generate in our guaranteed loan programs 348 loans for $82 million. In addition to that, our microloan program was able to generate 92 loans for $1.5 million. So it has some significant impacts in the local communities with those businesses in their ability to access capital. Technical assistance for small businesses is another key area to help them grow and start. Our official partners are the Maine Small Business Development Center, the Women's Business Centers at CEI, and SCORE. All of these local resources are offered in partnership with SBA at no cost services to the businesses. And then lastly, we have programs for businesses looking to do business with the federal government and government contracting as well. So the MOU, what is an MOU and sort of how does this work in the federal government? It just sort of, this memorandum of understanding memorializes the relationship between SBA and USDA. So back in April, our administrator, Linda McMahon, signed the MOU with Secretary Sonny Perdue. And it really sort of gives us a framework on how to partner. Even though we're 2 independent federal agencies, our programs dovetail. So it's about working smarter and more efficiently and figuring out where our programs help and where they don't, maybe rural developments do. So gaining a better collaboration, and we can do that under this MOU. Some of the things we've done so far, we've held some listening sessions, and we're going to continue to do that, more public out-facing to sort of gain some insight into what are the needs for businesses in rural communities. At the high level, most SBA offices tend to be in urban areas, and then rural development is in rural areas. Here in Maine, just about everything is rural, so it's a little bit different. We've worked very closely with rural development over the years, so for us, this is just like putting a name to what we're already kind of doing. In addition to that, they have lending programs that work with banks and credit unions, as do we. So we're kind of doing more just to make sure that we're reaching all customers, doing better cross-referrals, and just a better education of things. So just if you see us out and about, we just kind of wanted to let everybody know what this MOU was about. And I also want to sincerely congratulate Nancy and the folks here for getting that designation as Maine's Rural Development Council. While there may not be money there, those of us who've been in the federal government for a long time remember the years when money can pop up. So the term everybody probably remembers back from 2009, 2010, it was great to be shovel ready. So I've had this conversation with Nancy. It's great to have the designation and be shovel ready so that if funding does come up to, and take on opportunities, you'll be raring to go. So again, thank you for the opportunity to talk about our initiative, and I will turn it over for the awards presentation.
Hey everybody, I'm Evan Rickard. I have been associated with GrowSmart Maine in one way or another since its beginnings, and happy to be part of this award ceremony. I'm presenting these awards on behalf of a panel of three folks who looked at the nominations. The others were Kate Dempsey of the Nature Conservancy and Charlie Colgan, who I suspect all of you know as a longtime economist in Maine and now out in Monterey, California, actually. We sifted through 30 nominations. 30 nominations. 15 years ago, that would have been unthinkable, that we would have gotten 30 nominations for a Smart Growth Award. I think in 15 years there will be 900 instead of 30, so it's kind of going geometric or logarithmic or whatever the factor is. But it was very enlightening and wonderful to see 30 really high quality nominations. We made awards in 4 categories: a lifetime achievement, outstanding project, outstanding public policy, and outstanding smart growth plan. So, on to the awards. I'd like to call the winner of the Lifetime Achievement Award, Brian Kent. Brian, are you here? As Brian is walking up to the stage, come right on up here, sir, next to me.
I can make it.
Brian holds degrees in architecture and urban design from Cape Town and Washington University. His work in Maine over 40 years demonstrates a strong commitment to smart growth before there was the term smart growth. In 1976, he was responsible for the first comprehensive plan for the Land Use Regulation Commission. He authored the award-winning Land Use Handbook. He organized the first major downtown conference in Maine called Main Street's Future. As a consultant in landscape architecture, he has produced over 30 downtown plans. He has co-authored several important publications illustrating Grow Smart principles. And I've known Brian from almost the first day I stepped into my career 4 years ago. I don't know if he remembers, but he did a small development plan for a community land trust that I was involved with. And I remember looking at that plan and saying, this dude can print. That's my lasting impression of you, Brian. Since then, our paths have crossed and worked together multiple times on the Augusta Riverfront Plan, following the removal of the Edwards Dam, on producing the Great American Neighborhood Manual. We sat across the table from each other during the Plum Creek Moosehead Concept Plan, which is a groundbreaking 400,000 acre concept plan for the Moosehead region. He is, in my mind, and I think this is the highest compliment because it's the compliment that was once given to my hero Ebenezer Howard, and that is he is a practical visionary, and he is somebody that I've drawn on throughout my career. So thank you, and here is the award, and let me tell you that these plaques are made in Maine out of reclaimed wood, I think reclaimed pallet wood actually, by a reclaimed sign company in Portland. And in addition, Senator Angus King wanted to provide you with his congratulatory certificate as well. And your next job, Brian, is to stand right there and get your picture taken. The next category is Outstanding Project, and we have co-winners in this. This was a very competitive process, and in the end, in this category, we needed to choose 2 co-winners, 2 projects, both of which have very profound impacts at different scales. Dennis Lockman and Kaya Smith, would you come up? is 502 Deering Center, located at 502 Stevens Avenue in Portland. 502 Deering Center is a mixed-use compact lot infill project in the heart of Deering Center on Stevens Ave in Portland, one of the great old trolley suburbs, I think is what its origination, and developed into one of the great iconic neighborhoods, I think, of all of Maine, not just Portland. The project features 2 ground floor businesses, a ground floor live-work studio, 6 apartments on 2 upper floors, a village pocket park, and on-site parking, all on a compact infill site. Construction was completed in spring 2018. The philosophy of 502 Deering Center is summarized in this statement by the developer. Land and resources in our downtowns and village centers are limited, so in order to grow to accommodate development pressure, we must grow smart and dense. The historic and signature form of our downtowns and village centers is the tried and true smart, dense, 3- and 4-story mixed-use building on a compact lot. This is the fabric we know and love and others admire because it has proven practical, flexible, and attractive for a century and a half. And this project demonstrates that it is possible to recreate this model on a limited budget, and that it is as flexible and practical and as attractive as ever. Congratulations very much. Got one for you, Kaya, too? There you go. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dennis, nice seeing you again. Nice to see you. Step up for the post office picture.
Like that?
The other winner in this category is a project that we felt is simply an astounding impact on an entire downtown, and that is the Bill and Joan Alphon Main Street Commons in Waterville. And Colby College President David Green, or staff, or colleagues, come on up. As they're walking up, I'll give you the background. Colby College has embarked on an ambitious plan to revitalize downtown Waterville. Its goal is to make downtown Waterville more attractive and desirable for residents, businesses, visitors, students, faculty, and staff to workshop, recreate, and live. By developing a prosperous city center with greater amenities, all benefit. Colby's investment downtown is currently about $65 million. This 102,000 square foot civic retail mixed use downtown commons facility is a $25.5 million project itself. It will contain or contains residential units for 200 students and faculty, additional educational spaces, public and community civic spaces, and new commercial and retail spaces on the first floor of Main Street. With widened sidewalks, added streetscape amenities, and a complete streets design, it integrates transportation alternatives from a jitney shuttle to bike and pedestrian features that will allow the 60% of students who don't have cars to get to where they need to go safely and quickly and efficiently. And because the downtown commons is centrally located in the downtown, it is literally a 5-minute walk from every place in downtown. This is an example of an institution that didn't have to, but it did take on the revitalization of really a whole community in its downtown. And it's the sort of demonstration of commitment to a place that, of course, it depends on, but that dependency is mutual. That is just remarkable and a great example for many communities and the lead institutions in those municipalities. So thank you very much for doing this. And Here is your plaque. And certificate from Senator King.
Thank you very much.
And I'd also like to introduce Brian Clark and Paul Yorina from Colby. Thank you. It was close. In the category of outstanding public policy, Ben Smith, would you come on up? And is Tom here? Tom. All right, Tom. This award goes to the Wyndham Town Council for its 21st century downtown zoning policy. As background, Wyndham adopted the 21st century downtown plan for North Wyndham in 2013 and a comprehensive plan update in 2017. In order to implement these ambitious plans, the council adopted major ordinance changes on June 12, 2018. Changing the rules for how growth and change takes place in North Wyndham will allow new development to improve the quality of place to the point where this textbook example of suburban scale commercial strip development can become a new type of downtown for Wyndham and the region. With few exceptions, new residential development was specifically not allowed under the old code in Wyndham, and as it was feared it would take up too much valuable real estate that could be used for commercial purposes. The new ordinance allows many types of housing. New residential development will create more options for local commercial and service businesses and will extend the active hours of the district. Wyndham regularly issues over 100 building permits annually. Shifting a portion of that growth to North Wyndham will reduce the growth pressure on agriculture and open lands while giving built-in customer bases to this evolving new Wyndham downtown. This is a long time in coming. I remember this being talked about, well, for years. And it just demonstrates how persistence can eventually bring a vision close to and all the way to reality. So congratulations, Ben and Tom, on this award. Here you go for the Wyndham Town Council. And a certificate from Senator King, expressing his congratulations and gratitude for your work. And if you stand on this The fourth category is outstanding smart growth plan, and again, here we have co-winners. Mark, Ellison, Jay, and Christian, would you come up? From the Portland Housing Authority.
The last part.
When I read this plan, I have to say, I've read a lot of plans in my years. This one took my breath away. It was one of the first ones I read in the competition among the 30, and I wondered, how could anybody top this? Here's a case, much like Colby, where an entity that is a major property owner in a community didn't have to, but decided for very good business as well as civic reasons to undertake a plan that is implementable because of who they are and that will change the face of a city. The Portland Housing Authority Strategic Plan lays out a 20-year strategy to redevelop 1970s era public housing into new, more integrated neighborhoods, ultimately doubling the city's public housing portfolio with projects that vastly improve the urban design and energy efficiency of the authority's properties. Portland's public housing sites are ideally located with good access to jobs and transit, but suffer from 1970s era design, declining federal subsidies, and increasing maintenance costs. The strategic vision plan lays out a path towards replacing the authority's suburban-style complexes with more vibrant, mixed-use buildings that engage the streetscape, create new high-quality public spaces, support local transit ridership, and most importantly, grow the agency's portfolio of affordable housing. The strategy also emphasizes the importance of increasing more economic integration with the addition of new market-rate apartments mixed seamlessly with affordable homes. And a key component of the plan is repairing the auto-oriented design of the authority's current developments with mixed-use, higher-density buildings that prioritize pedestrian, bike, and transit access. It is, as I said, breathtaking in the scope, its implementability, and its the potential impact that I think is inevitable that we'll have over the next 20 years. Congratulations to the Portland Housing Authority.
What a crew.
The co-winner in this category of Smart Growth Plan, I read this after I read the Portland Housing Authority one, and I said, oh, there's one that's also really good. And breathtaking in its persistence of actually a truly important path-breaking project coming to fruition. And this is the Franklin Street redesign. And I wonder if, I'm not sure who all is here to accept this, but Jeremiah, are you here? Jeremiah? And Marcos? Great. Jeremiah is from, the board is presented to the city's, Portland's Public Works and Planning and Urban Development Departments. Jeremiah is with Public Works, and Marcos is one of the real inspirational leaders, longtime leaders for all these years behind this project. This redesign plan, the Franklin Street redesign plan, seeks to restore Franklin Street as a vibrant city street integrated into the urban fabric. The plan converts an auto-centric design into a multimodal corridor, improving safety and accessibility for all users. It creates the context for redevelopment land for housing and mixed-use development near existing infrastructure and services, turning the space to drive through, and frankly, that completely divides historic neighborhood from historic downtown, and reconnects them, and turns it into a place where people live, work, and recreate. The Franklin Street redesign plan called for improved bicycle and pedestrian facilities in a corridor whose urban renewal era design serves motorized vehicles exclusively. The corridor serves as a primary point of access to the Portland Peninsula for 30,000 vehicles per day. The plan was designed using a multimodal level of service metric and creates a context for greater pedestrian activity by creating sidewalks, crosswalks, where demand clearly indicates the need, and by using roadway design features to lower travel speeds and improve safety for all users. It also supports the future introduction of public transit in the corridor linking I-295 to the Portland waterfront. The public participation in this whole effort was remarkable. It began in reaction to a plan to widen the roadway, and neighborhood organizations and community groups came together to form the Franklin Reclamation Authority, which facilitated a consensus-based workshop in 2006. And here we are 12 years later. Another triumph of persistence and vision over the status quo. It is a project that will change the face of that part of Portland, and for everybody who comes into the city, it will change the face for the metropolitan area. Congratulations on this award. Here you go. And
represent an organization here, I'm here in this state, called Citizens Climate Lobby, which is exactly what it says it is. It's citizens who are concerned about climate, and we lobby Congress to get them to do something. And obviously we haven't been terribly successful, at least what shows up in Congress. However, let me tell you that as you probably know, the so-called conservative side of Congress tends to say boo to climate change. But behind closed doors in our meetings with them, we have seen a remarkable increase in interest in their attention to a plan that we have called Carbon Fee and Dividend. It puts a price on carbon, I guess carbon fuels, which is something that was got rewarded just recently. You probably heard the news on Monday about one of the Nobel Prizes going to a professor at Yale who has been modeling carbon pricing. We see that in this next year or two, it's very likely that Republicans will bring forth some kind of a bill before Congress that will put a price on carbon. And we hope that it will be one that we have been proposing called Carbon Fee and Dividend. And it, just a minute, and it will, so it brings the money back into the economy via you and me. You can read more about it at the Citizens Climate Lobby website. But I have got an enormous amount of help from this conference, both with the weatherization and Solarize session, that was the number 3 session this morning, as well as the number 3 session for this afternoon. And thank you for organizing this and all that you do.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, I just want to thank GrowSmart Maine for a fantastic day. It's been really inspiring, and I hope for the next step that you will get the funding and the staff to just do more of what you do and get it into more places. Thank you.
The feeling is mutual, thank you. Who else? Christian?
I'll tag on to that. I actually worked for GrowSmart Maine back when Alan Caron was in charge, and this is my first summit in, I guess, 9 years. But it's been great to be back, just because we won a really nice award. Although that was really lovely too. But I was really pleasantly surprised. The workshops were really inspiring and interesting, and I'm looking to get back more involved. I actually became involved in the Housing Authority because of principles and interests that I sort of developed as a staff member at GrowSmart. And it's exciting to be at the Housing Authority to sort of be actually building those principles in new egalitarian neighborhoods in Portland. So I'm really glad GrowSmart is still here and still plugging away and doing this stuff all over the state. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Christian.
Thank you for organizing this. This is nothing to do with me, but I was swept away by the quality of the projects that were presented, as Ellen mentioned. And I think they're superb demonstrations of good planning and good urban design. And I wonder what GrowSmart may be able to do to reach out to the broader public, to publicize the work you do and how it's interpreted in these great projects.
We will be having a publicity campaign about the awards now that they're public. And we will actually let you all know what that plan will be, because one of the things we're thinking of doing is, instead of sending out, a tweet and a Facebook and a press release that has all 6, sort of sending them out separately, you know, with some time in between. So we'll let you know how that works out and hopefully set up some interviews for you folks who are the winners.
I want to thank you for organizing this great conference. Really a wonderful experience. And I'm a town councilor in Orono, and in that capacity, I went to the Maine Municipal Association annual conference last week in Augusta, and I think that that community would benefit from learning from the great projects you just presented. And so I'd like to encourage you to communicate with them if there's any challenge with that. I would be willing to be a partner in working with my town manager to try to encourage this kind of networking, because the conference also didn't have breakout sessions where people would get a chance to talk as the way you've designed it. And I think that there's a lot of amazing people in this room that have been doing the work on the ground, and we can learn from each other, and I really like the way you structured it so that we had time to talk with one another. Thank you.
Thank you, and I agree that they are a natural partner and a great partner, and we are working with them right now as well. We have a representative in the room too, so thank you. Well, thank you very much for coming, and you will be getting an evaluation form via email, and we would appreciate it if you would fill it out and tell us what we did good and what we can do better. Thank you very much.
I'll add a thought, just because I don't remember. I was going to say, and tell a friend, because passing that word along to strengthen our network, you all are the strength of our network. So thank you all for the great words today, but if you can pass that along to people that you know in your networks, whether it's Maine Municipal Association or in your community or in other parts of Maine that we aren't always reaching in as robust a way. So thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to thank our sponsors, Bangor Savings Bank, the Nature Conservancy, Maine Magazine, CEI, the New Development, PDT, Maine Biz, Elmira B. Sewell, and many, many more. So thank all of you very much for making this possible. The reception is in the atrium, which, as I understand it, you go out here, take a right, and then what?
And then keep going, and it's the upper level.
Hope to see you guys there. Thank you again.